Welcome to another episode of Quarantine Kitchen. Today, I'm going to be making an easy summer or spring appetizer. For this recipe, you will need 3 carrots, quarter head of cauliflower, 1 radish, 7 to 10 Brussels sprouts, 10 to 15 green beans, 2 tablespoons of harissa-spice, various pickled vegetables, 2 egg yolks, 1/3 cup of canola oil, 2 5-ounce cans of tuna, 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of white wine vinegar, and salt, white pepper, and lemon to taste, as well as a food processor. As always, start by getting all your knife work done. Cut your vegetables into any size or shape you'd like. Here, I'm cutting them a little bit smaller so that I can get a little bit of everything in every bite. When you're cutting your Brussels sprouts up, make sure to save the leaves. That way you can use them later as a little garnish. I'm also making sure to slice my radishes super thin and put them in ice water so that they stay fresh. Now we're ready to make our Tonnato sauce. Start by putting your 2 egg yolks in the food processor with a pinch of salt. Once you place the lid on, you're just going to pulse the egg yolks until they become a lighter yellow and a little bit creamy looking. Next, we're going to add our white wine vinegar, and then, replacing the top, we're going to start to slowly drizzle in our canola oil. Drizzling it in very, very slowly is how you're going to emulsify it into the egg yolks. Right now, you're essentially creating a mayonnaise. Once we've added all our canola oil, and we've created a simple mayonnaise, we're going to add our 2 5-ounce cans of tuna. Replace the lid and blend again until creamy. Now that my tuna's in, I'm going to slowly drizzle in my olive oil. Again, make sure to do this nice and slow so that it emulsifies with the tuna and the other mayo. Make sure to every so often stop and scrape down the sides so that you can ensure that everything gets blended up smoothly. Keep blending until everything becomes a nice, smooth, creamy sauce, and then add your lemon juice and salt and pepper. I found that I needed a lot more lemon juice and salt than I anticipated. You probably won't get your seasoning right the first time, so don't be afraid to keep tasting and keep adjusting throughout the process. Next, we'll move on to roasting our vegetables. We'll start by tossing our carrots and our cauliflower in a harissa spice. This is the harissa spice recipe I like to use. Feel free to use a store-bought spice blend or to make your own recipe based on the spices that you have at home. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 450 degrees. Once all our vegetables are seasoned, we'll add a little bit of canola oil to a very hot, preheated, oven-proof skillet. Next, we'll add our vegetables in and toss them around and make sure to cook them at a high heat to try and really get some good color. I'm starting with the carrots and getting their color first and then adding the cauliflower before I put the whole thing right into the oven. Carrots are a little harder and so they take a little bit longer to cook, which is why I put them in first. My carrots and cauliflower have been cooking about 10 minutes. Now they're nice and tender. I'll remove them from the pan and wipe my pan out. You can see that these have developed a little bit of color. Now I've wiped my pan out and I'm going to put it back on a burner. Turn the burner on and add my Brussels sprouts to a little bit of oil in the pan. Once I put the Brussels sprouts in, I want to make sure to turn them cut side down. That way we can get some good caramelized color on the bottom of these. Now that these are nice and brown, we're going to add our nice fresh green beans and stick the whole thing right down in the oven. Again, Brussels sprouts are a harder vegetable, and so we want to cook them a little bit before we cook our softer vegetable like green beans. It's been another 10 minutes and now both our green beans and our Brussels are tender. Now that all of our vegetables are cooked, we can get ready to finish our dish. If you wanted to save this for later, you could put all of the vegetables on the roasting pan and then heat them all up together later. Because I plan on eating these now, I'm going to put all of them back into my pan and add a little bit of butter. Then I'll add a little bit of salt and some lemon. Make sure to taste your dish at every step. That way you know how much salt or lemon you might need to add. As soon as the butter is melted and all my vegetables are hot, I'm ready to plate. When I plate this, I'm going to start by just putting all my vegetables right in the center of a bowl or plate. Because they're all different shapes and sizes, I'm not going to worry too much about where they are, as long as they're mostly in the center. Next, I'll start to distribute the pickles on top of the rest of the roasted vegetables. I just want to distribute these evenly so I get a little bit in every bite. I don't want to overpower the rest of the vegetables, but I do want to counteract the fatty, creamy Tonnato sauce with a little burst of freshness from the pickled vegetables. Next, I'll spoon my Tonnato sauce on and try and get it evenly distributed. I'm using the Tonnato like a dressing, so while I want a little bit in every bite, I don't want to put on so much that it overwhelms the rest of the dish. Next, I'm going to add my radish and my reserved Brussels leaves. Both of these are tossed in a little bit of olive oil, lemon, and salt. I just want to distribute these evenly over the top so that they kind of hide the dish underneath. That way, it's kind of like getting a little surprise. Now you're ready to serve your roasted vegetables with Tonnato.